The Chicago Bulls have made a trade. It's a trade to stack some assets, but is another trade coming down the road? Because if it's not, this trade means absolutely nothing. We're talking about that. Plus, the Bulls getting absolutely dog-walked against the Miami Heat. And are the Bulls actually in on the Karl-Anthony Towns trade? Rumor just popped up this morning. We'll talk about it all and more right after this.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily Chicago Bulls podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is now the #1 sports podcast network in the world. I'm joined by Pat, the designer, host, and creator of the Windy City Breeze and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over ESPN 1000. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central, Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcasts. And today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Pat, I know the Bulls had a bad loss yesterday. I should have put it as a third topic, but I want to focus on this trade that the Bulls made. The Bulls got involved in the 3-team trade between the Kings and the Cavs. Keon Ellis, Dennis Schroeder going to the Cavs. The Bulls are actually getting Dario Saric. We had a waived Javon Carter and 2 second-round picks. This gives more assets to stack for the Chicago Bulls. And if the Bulls are going to be a player in the trade, which we'll talk about the Karl-Anthony Towns room and how this all could fit together, getting more assets kind of helps just to stack that. We haven't seen AK make a trade like this where he takes on a contract that's unwanted by another team just to get picks back. We haven't seen that. As a matter of fact, Pat, in the DeMar DeRozan signing trade, the Bulls didn't want to take Harrison Barnes back, and we could have got a first-round pick for that. We didn't want to do that then. Different now situation. The Bulls have more space between the luxury. There's still $8 million beneath the luxury tax even after this trade and waiving Javon Carter. How you feeling about the move, Pat?
Well, listen, the second that, you saw that he was a Denver Nugget, you knew it made more sense. AK was like, oh, Euro, it's a Denver Nugget. Hold on, brother.
That's funny. That's funny.
But no, realistically speaking, I'd win for AK. Like, kind of a win. I mean, listen, yeah. Dario Saric was getting absolutely no tick. Probably a better player than a player that gets absolutely no tick. Add size to the team, whatever he's going to be for this season, it is what it is. You don't really worry about that too much. He's got $5 million due left on the deal, and then he's an unrestricted free agent going into next season. So you could care less from the Dario Saric point. Getting back 2 seconds is a weird win. And I know a lot of people say, well, what do those seconds mean? We've seen a lot of good players traded for a lot of second-round picks. Like a lot of second-round picks. And so, I think that stacking assets, if you're going to make a move and try and go after a bigger fish down the road there, and we know that the Bulls have made a decision to say, we're trying to be a play. Now, they did say play in or play off. They're representing the play in very well with the in-season play-in tournament that we just went through. But if you're going to be a playoff team and add a piece that helps you become a playoff team, you're going to have assets. And if the Bulls go out and make a move either this offseason or at the trade deadline, I guess it makes sense. So it's kind of a weird win for AK, but it also just feels like, what are we doing here? I think that's how the trade felt to me too. It at the end of the day, I was just like, the Bulls gave up nothing and got rid of Javon Carter. How's this a win?
I mean, I think it's a win in the sense that they get assets back. Like
100%.
Now, how you use that, we'll see, right? How AK uses that. But I think this, Pat, and this is the way that I choose to look at it, and I have to do this for myself, is that I try to look at this. If this was a smarter front office making this move, how would I view it? I view it as they're setting up for something. Yeah. Now, unfortunately, AK hasn't earned me to believe that, but I'm looking at it and say, okay, this could be setting up for something. They have to prove that that's what this is doing, but it could be setting up for something else.
Yeah, I think that's the part that, we haven't seen the Bulls operate in this manner before. Yeah. We haven't seen the Bulls be a team that is all in on going out and trying to acquire talent to make them better in season in a long time, make them playoff better, I guess I should say, in season. We've seen them, bring back Trey Jones, bring back Zach Collins and the Zach LaVine trade, some nice pieces. But we've never seen them go out there and go get a player that they feel is going to push them far enough ahead in the playoffs. I like the fact that you're stacking assets. Now the question is, who is it for? Right?
Let me ask you this, Pat.
Second round picks don't scream Zion Williamson.
Well, you're right. Well, that's that. You are always about a star, but like, reportedly, two players that actually could help the Bulls that are reportedly available for 2 second-round picks. Now, we know that the Pelicans want a first, but it's been widely reported by Fisher and others that they may have to settle for a couple of seconds. Day'Ron Sharpe, another center that's available reportedly for a couple of seconds and matching salary. If the Bulls end up parlaying this into saying, so if it ends up being the Bulls got involved in the 3-team trade, they end up sending back out Dario Saric and 2 second-round picks for Yves Missi or for Day'Ron Sharpe, that will count that as a win for the Bulls, considering what they had.
Yves Missi, yes. Day'Ron Sharpe, no. I'm not a fan of Day'Ron Sharpe. I don't think that he's got some offensive upside. He brings you nothing defensively. I feel like
his defensive measures are better than Yves Missi's. Like by a large margin.
From a rim protection standpoint, he brings you nothing defensively. Like he could be a better pick and roll defender.
No, I mean, see, that's the thing. If you're talking about rim protection as far as shot blocking, no. But if you're talking about defense, if you're talking about, well, there's two versions of rim protection. You're talking about defense, on-ball defense in the paint to keep players from getting to the rim. Day'Ron Sharpe's numbers are better than Yves Missi's at this. Now, he's much older. He's, 3 years older than Yves Missi, too.
3 years? Wait, no. Well, how old is Yves Missi?
Yves Missi's 21, 22. I think Day'Ron's 25.
24. Okay, yeah. Either way, I'm not a... I think
you prefer Yves Missi, and I prefer Yves Missi too. I want to be clear.
I would rather have Yves Missi. I have a tough time with how many points in the paint the Brooklyn Nets often give up with two names like Nick Claxton and Day'Ron Sharpe on that team.
Listen, I can't knock you on that.
You know
one,
what
bro.
I mean? I
can't knock you there.
You want to fix the issue, and I not to say that he can't be a good on-ball defender and stuff like that, but like you're not fixing what is a clear problem that the Bulls have had especially the past couple of weeks, where it's just like, hey, bro, it don't matter who you got standing down in that paint, we're going to attack you.
Yeah.
And I think that if you're going to make a move for a player, I would rather have the guy in Yves Missi that can stand down there and actually turn people away, and you have to adjust your offensive game plan when he's standing down there, than a guy like Day'Ron Sharpe, who fine on-ball defender, but like he's going to give up those points in the paint. So to me, by the way, for 2 second-round picks, either one's fine.
Yeah.
For 2 second-round picks, you didn't get worse, especially 2 second-round picks that weren't yours.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, listen, and that's what he does great. Like this is a smart thing to do. Like, and even if like the Bulls didn't have a second-round pick until 2028, this now gets you an additional pick in 2029 and one in 2027. So now you have second-round picks you can throw in, and like you said, we've seen second-round picks become the sweetener for a lot of moves. But you know what? And we're gonna call audible. Let's go to the Karl-Anthony Towns trade for the second topic, Pat, just because I want to link it with this asset stacking potentially. So when we transition to that, we'll go. Well, I guess that's my transition. So we'll go into that. But I want to throw this one to you as well, Pat. When you look at this, has this move made you think anything differently? But me and you both have been very loud in the sense that expect nothing. They have a lot of runway to do something, but expect nothing. Has this changed that at all, even a little bit for you?
No, because I think that they're going to look at things and feel like you're not getting the value back that you want to get back. They want a first-round pick for Kobe. Teams aren't offering first-round picks for Kobe. When's the last time we saw AK take a loss on value until he was forced to? Like literally, like back to the basket. You're going to get nothing for him and have him forever. In fact, we have a player on this team that literally the report around him is the Bulls can get nothing for him. And so they're either just going to let him walk or have to re-sign him in Nikola Vucevic because you waited so long. So the likely scenario, I deal in what history has told us, and history has told us that the likely scenario is that, well, it's going to be here. I think this is your 2026 Bulls team heading into the second half of the season, and you add Dario Saric in there. And guess what we're going to hear? We feel Dario gives us a good chance to add size to the paint. And, we're going to see, the good players got to play. We're going to see what ends up happening. Thanks.
I mean, listen, it is what it is. They set themselves up, and we'll see if anything comes from it. More than likely, it's nothing until all AK got to do is show us, Pat. He wants to shut people up. Show us. That's it.
Here's one thing. I guess if you want to talk about a change, technically we had to use our trade exception to get Dario under the team.
We did have 2 trade exceptions. So yeah, we used one of the trade exceptions. We still have another trade exception of $17 million. So we still got some assets.
Usually we just let that expire though.
That's true. You're right. That's true.
Maybe this is a different year.
AK, you done. No, let's stop. Captain Carney got to show improve. But with that said, we're going to talk about this Karl-Anthony Towns rumor that popped up recently, just in the last 10 hours or so. We're going to talk about that right after this. Ooh. All right, there we go. Couldn't find the button.
First time.
The big game is almost here, and there's no better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. And this week, Prize Picks has a special max discount for the big game, live in the app right now. Drake May just needs 1 passing yard for the max discount to win. Add another player to your lineup, and if your picks hit, you can cash in. Prize Picks is super simple to use. It takes no time to get started. The whole format is clean. Pick more or less on 2 to 6 player projections. It makes watching games even more fun because every drive and every stat matters. The social feeds feature is awesome. You can share lineups and even copy lineups for winners with 1 click. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. We're Locked On Bulls coming up next. All right, Pat. So I come downstairs this morning to get Locked On Bulls Central together. And you know me, you're the same way. I have alerts set up for everything. That's how I'm able to stay up on all the Bulls news. And so this thing comes out from Andrew Hanlon, who writes for Pimpin' Ain't Easy. It was spinning off an article from James Edwards on The Athletic. So these are 2 legitimate sources that talk about the Bulls being in on a potential trade for Karl-Anthony Towns. Now, if you put the reports together, the way that this is all coming together to me is that if the Knicks try to trade for Giannis, their biggest trade chip is Karl-Anthony Towns. The Milwaukee Bucks are focused more on younger players, so they could be looking to reroute Karl-Anthony Towns and get more picks back. That's why I wanted to link it to this trade with Bulls getting more second-round picks, because, Pat, the Bulls could have their own first-round pick. Portland made a move that looks like Portland's really gunning for the playoffs. We'll see if they're able to make it. So the Bulls could have 2 first-round picks in the 2026 draft, multiple seconds to throw in. They have the expiring salary to match Karl-Anthony Towns because the Bucks don't want that long-term. He has 3 years left on his deal. The last year, I think it's $61 million. Pat, if AK, and this is a huge if, I don't think it's likely to happen, but if the Bulls get in on the Knicks getting Giannis and we end up with Karl-Anthony Towns, and part of the thing that we did to get there is this trade that happened earlier to get the second-round picks, a lot of ifs there. You don't get credit for ifs, but we are here to speculate on it. How would you feel about that?
If my grandma had wheels, she'd be a bike.
She could roll like that?
I mean, that's kind of what it comes down to. Honestly, if the Bulls were able to pull something off like that, you are a playoff team.
Now, me and you both have our doubts about Karl-Anthony Towns, Pat.
Now, I was going to say, with a very underperforming player.
Now, Karl-Anthony Towns is legitimately one of the best shooting big men in league history. That's undoubtedly. He's one of the best shooting big men in league history. The Bulls have tried to use Vooch in that place. Do you think that Karl-Anthony Towns would be more successful with a similar style game? The pick and roll with Josh Giddey. We've seen the pick and roll with him and Jalen Brunson. The pick and roll with him and Josh Giddey could be legit. Having Jalen Smith maybe as your starting 4 out there, who's a better rim protecting big with Karl-Anthony Towns. Do you think that he can? Because it's not doing anything for our holes of rim protection or defense. But do you think he's better offensively enough to where he can be more successful than we were with Vooch playing a similar style?
I think you could be more successful. I think you could get out of the play-in tournament. That's more successful. I think you could be a team that's the 6th seed in the East. That's more successful. Mm-hmm. I don't think it makes you a top team in the East. I don't think it makes you a middling team in the East in that 4 range, right? Karl-Anthony Towns is a player that is too soft to be a big man, and realistically speaking, doesn't help you get over the hump and hasn't helped any of the teams that he's been on get over the hump. In fact, he's hurt those teams from getting over the hump because he's not a smart basketball player. His basketball IQ is maybe one step above Zach LaVine's at time.
No, me and you have talked about him being 7 foot Zach LaVine many times over the last couple of years, right?
You would be drafting. You would be traded for 7 foot Zach LaVine.
But does Josh Giddey now having the basketball IQ that he does? And Karl-Anthony Towns isn't as ball dominant as Zach LaVine. He is able to play off guards. Do you think that and I guess in this trade too, you would be having to bet that Noah Essengay needs to be ready to be next to Karl-Anthony Towns within a year. You have to be willing. That has to be something and that's a huge thing to bet on, because much like we did with Vooch, we bet on Patrick Williams turning into that defensive power forward you needed next to Vooch. It never happened.
Yeah, I can't trust it, because no matter what, I guarantee you there will be a game, because I've seen it happen 4 times in the playoffs at this point. I believe 4. When I saw this pop up, I thought about how bad Cat has been in the playoffs, where literally he had 5 fouls and the entire goal was just don't F up, like don't do something stupid and commit a foul. And the pass came in, and for some reason he immediately grabbed somebody around the shoulders or around the leg or swung down, or like he's gonna put himself in bad position.
I'm not surprised that Karl-Anthony Towns was grabbing a grown man by the shoulders.
100%. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things for me with Cat where I don't think you can overcome the player that he is. I don't think he's going to I think he's incredibly talented.
And you can win a lot with him, but you can't get over like the Knicks, Eastern Conference. Like I do think Karl-Anthony Towns is a player that you can win a lot of, but and maybe that's the place that we just need to focus on. This is the Bulls getting to a place of being able to win more games. I can see that happening, but like I have my series. I just feel like if you get Karl-Anthony Towns, we could probably make it into the second round. Like you said, bro, he's basketball remedial, bro. For somebody who this is his profession, Karl-Anthony Towns is a very stupid basketball player, bro. Like some of the stuff that he does sometimes, it's like, hey, bro, you had 2 options and somehow you created a third one that was even more wrong.
And I think here's my bottom line with him. Who's the player that he shows up to be in the playoffs? He's all of his numbers drop off. His rebounding numbers for the most part stay the same, but his scoring drops off. His 3-point percentage drops off. He is everything. He has not been a player in the playoffs. Which, listen, I can't bring him in and be like, oh, this is the answer. And it's been my biggest question with Kobe White. When the games matter most, what player are you? That's the player that matters.
Now here's the thing, though, Pat. I get that, and I understand where I don't disagree with you. I'm talking about bringing this up for the conversation. But Karl-Anthony Towns is for 82 games. He's a lot more consistent of a player than Kobe White.
100%. No, yeah. for sure. But we see Karl-Anthony Towns
in the playoffs that you're just like,
well, no, it's that too. But it's also we see Karl-Anthony Towns when he goes up against legitimate big men in this league shy away and usually get punked.
Which is Pat, which we don't talk about enough. Do you think that part of the reason the Minnesota Timberwolves got Rudy Gobert so that he wouldn't have to guard Cat anymore?
I'm just saying, because you go and look at that. Rudy Gobert has been completely killing Cat for a while, bro. But you know, they eventually
you might have got bamboozled into that one.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing, right? When you see something that consistently happens, you can't ignore it. Like I love the great with Cat, but the bad is bad. When Cat goes up against Joel Embiid, bad. When Cat goes up against and Joel Embiid picking his game up, shout out to him for being back in the mix,
bro.
When Cat goes up against Chet Holmgren, bad. When he goes up against Wemby, bad. When he goes like that, you can't be bad versus every big. You ain't beating nobody. Like that's diabolical at this point. And so like I can't overlook that and just say yes, but when he's good, he's really good. Yeah, but when he's bad, he's really bad. There's usually in the moments you need him to not be the most.
But Pat, you have been one of the loudest people in the Bulls community to say go out and get a star. You were willing to bet on a star that's off the court as much as he's on the court. Are you at least Karl-Anthony Towns is on the court? I'm just saying, like, and I want everybody to listen to this. I don't disagree with a single point Pat is making, but me and Pat agree so much that sometimes one of us has to play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
I'm just playing devil's advocate in the case because I've been very on record. I hate Karl-Anthony Towns as a player, but there you go.
I would say this for going after a player who, when he's on the court, is phenomenal, and when he's off the court is a struggle, right? Like it's the injury issue. You've already got that. You're getting a better version of what you have right now. We got a bunch of dudes that can't stay on the court that aren't even that good when they on the court all the time. At least when he's on the court, he's amazing. Cat's on the court every night. And the last 2 weeks, I just been like, what's happening with him? Why is he getting worse?
And that would be the thing. The Bulls would trade for a player that has played really good over their career during the regular season, but is having one of the worst regular seasons of his career. It's like, come on, Bulls. If you just would have did this trade a year earlier, I could try to have more of a leg to stand on you for. But hey, like I said, I can't be mad at the Bulls taking a swing if they're doing it for expiring. Like that's been my biggest thing. But I will say this, because Karl-Anthony Towns does have a much larger contract than Zion, and even for that matter, he's right around the same as Anthony Davis. It puts pressure on the front office. Okay, what's your next move? Because that's your window now. That 3 years that you have Karl-Anthony Towns now becomes your window. Yeah. What do you do in that window? And that's where AK's failed at. He makes the move, but then the subsequent moves that are needed to support that move, he doesn't always make.
I'm passing on a zesty jester. Hey man, we appreciate y'all for tuning in, showing love.
Jester, bro, just put on the hat.
bro, just put the hat on, bro. He look like a jester, on, bro. He look like, I got to spin with it. Hey man, we gotta keep this thing moving along and talk about the rough weekend that the rough weekend we had as far as losing to the Heat. We talk about that coming up next. But first, we got to tell you guys all about Game Time. That's the right one, right? Yeah. There's nothing like being around the NBA, the crowd, the energy, the moment. Getting tickets, though, that part hasn't always been so simple. That's why Game Time has become the go-to app for scoring tickets fast without the hassle. It puts the advantage back where it belongs with the fans. Pull the Game Time app, picked up some upcoming NBA tickets and had them locked in within minutes. Love seeing the all-in price up front. No surprise fees at checkout, and being able to see the view from the seat before buying made the decision so easy. Zone Deal stood out. Choosing the section, Game Time picks the seats, and you save the money. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account and use code LOCKEDON NBA for $20 off your first purchase. That's code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. And remember, if it's it's gametime.co, not .com. Moving ahead, we also got to talk to you guys about BetterHelp as well. This episode sponsored by BetterHelp. February can be a lot. Flowers, candy, stuffed animals, Black history. That's not in the ad read, but Black history, Jesus Christ. And so much talk about relationships, and it can honestly feel like everyone has it all together in their life. But here's the truth. Whether you're married, dating, single, or just focusing on you, most people are still figuring it out. And no matter where you are in your romantic journey, therapy can help you find your way. It can help you get clear on what you want, what feels heavy, and how to take some pressure off yourself. BetterHelp has licensed therapists in the U.S., and they do the initial matching work for you so you can focus on your goals. And if you want to switch therapists, you can do that at any time. Sign up and get 10% off BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA. That's BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA. More Locked On Bulls coming up next.
Crazy. Pat, the Bulls had one of the most lopsided losses in franchise history against the Miami Heat, losing by 43 points yesterday. Disgusting loss, bro. I didn't even hit you up to even think about doing a post-game show after because I didn't want to talk about it. Nope. And once again, after the game, Billy Donovan with his Billy Donovan isms, bro. Like, I at this point, I know we talked about trades to open up this show, But we have no players, and I know you said this before, we have no players to show any type of pride. You got dog walked by 43 points. And everybody in the locker room afterwards, I need somebody who's going to be angry in the locker room, bro. Nobody was mad about this loss. Nobody was. And that's what made me, I'm not even mad. I'm disappointed, but I can't be mad. Y'all not mad. Y'all the ones who were on the court that got mollywopped. I wasn't on the basketball court. I would at least would have elbowed somebody, somewhere. Like, this team has no pride, Pat. And so it's just so difficult for Chicago specifically as a city to root for a team that just has no pride. I can deal with losing, but show some fight out there, bro.
I think last night showed you got one player that means something to you, and he's the one player that didn't play.
Yeah.
Josh Giddey's your guy. That's it. Everybody else expendable. Future modest, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe. But if somebody called me today and told me I got a superstar for you that's going to be solid, phenomenal, whatever you want to call it, for the next 4 or 5 years, but I want draft picks and modest Buzelit, I wouldn't hesitate. These are the moments where I see players step up and say, you know what? I'm going to go out there and I'm going to get the job done today. Young players. We've seen in positions where the Bulls were at, the similar setup, right? Trade deadline, stuff like that. I saw VJ Edgecombe snap off the other day. I saw well, Cooper Flagg is the class of the draft, but he's been going crazy over the last couple of weeks. But heck, I've seen Cedric Coward balling in these moments. I'm looking to my young guys to step up in these moments. I'm looking for somebody to be the extra that is needed for the team. Kobe gave you essentially what we used to Kobe giving you. Now he shot 4 for 13 the other day. But 16 points, got to the free throw line a ton. I thought he put pressure on the defense. Had an off shooting day. Who's going to step up? Who's the one that's going to say, and who's going to set the tone for the team? If Josh Giddey ain't on the floor, there's not a single tone setter on this team. That tells you all you need to know.
Yeah.
It didn't take 3 years for me to look at Anthony Edwards or one of these other. Hey, it ain't even got to be Anthony Edwards. Lonzo Ball wasn't like that 3 years in. Lonzo Ball was on the Lakers sitting there like, we not finna get dog walked every night and just be okay with it. We got to play better. And was openly calling Muggs out, which is why
he was on that team though that celebrated some win, and Kobe was on the Today Show looking like. But other than that, Lonzo did show some.
Is that yeah? That's not that team, is it?
That was Lonzo's first. But Lonzo may have been injured that year.
Lonzo was hurt that year.
Yeah,
Lonzo was hurt that year. But my thing is right. Like I give the big names, but realistically, we've seen names of young guys that don't stand for this and realize that it's my opportunity to change the tide of this team. And we're not seeing that with our young guys that are here.
Yeah. And
so if somebody would have pick up the phone today, I know it was a weird odds thing that happened yesterday, but if they were like, you had to trade Modest and a bunch of picks and all to go get Giannis, do it. Because I'd rather have a player come in here that got some kind of heart and we figure out the rest of the roster than a bunch of dudes that's just happy to collect a check.
I disagree with the Modest part of it, but I get what you're getting at there. You gotta have players that care, and you're right. Josh Giddey does care. Like, say what you will about Josh Giddey, you see him being frustrated, and that's because he comes from a winning organization. Like say what you will about his place there, but he's used to winning, and you can tell that when this Bulls team doesn't, Josh Giddey will literally stare a hole in players. Like, I've seen him stare Vooch down sometimes where I'm like, Josh Giddey may slap Nikola Vucevic. He may slap Nikola Vucevic. So you just got to have players that give a damn, Pat. And I'm sorry, like, seeing, I know people judge Vooch by the time that they got a win barely, and Jalen and Modest were over there, and he was looking like he was frustrated. People were like, hey, man, let's have some fun. You don't win enough to have fun. You're not doing it enough. Like, you can do that type of thing when it's like, hey, we've been winning most of these games. This one was close. Hey, but we escaped it. But we've been winning. We're like 5 games above 500. You can't do that when every other game is you getting back to 500 or not. Like, you can't do that.
I pray Vooch get traded to a team, and I don't care what we get back. Give me a second round pick in 30 years. Like, I pray he get traded to a team where he can go be himself.
I'll trade him for a second round pick and a player Midnight Jordan 1s. That's all you need.
You know what I mean? Like, bro, like listen, like I hope he gets moved to a team where he can actually go have fun again. Because I can't imagine being talented and you got to deal with this every day. I can't imagine it. I can't imagine going out there. You got to look around at the rest of your teammates and they don't care. And I think the funny part about it is, right, like you bring up Giddey and him, you know, being from a winning organization in Oklahoma City. You watch Josh Giddey with Team Australia and how he was organizing them mugs. Them grown men, they way older than Giddey.
Mm-hmm.
He cussing Patty Mills out.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Isn't that where's there some controversy on why Patty Mills was left off one of the national teams because he had beef with Josh?
You know what I mean? Because you ain't playing hard enough because you thought you was just a superstar. Get to walk in the building.
I'd love to have somebody on this team that people are like, hey, we got to trade this guy because this guy on our team that's the main guy doesn't like him. We got to get him up out of there. Like,
hey, well, maybe that is what's happening this offseason and we just don't know. Hey, maybe Dario Saric's about to walk in there and it'd be a double machine out here.
Bro, Dario Saric hasn't really played in like the last 3 years, bro. Like he's been on teams, but like he's barely played. If Dario Saric comes in here and starts putting up numbers on people's head, it's like, hey, bro, the fact that y'all let this carcass come in here and outplay y'all is crazy.
Hey, bro, get him back to them. Was that year 2 with the 76ers?
Bro,
year 2 with the 76ers. He was cooking. That 3-point shot was falling. I mean, like
when people forget that people at one point were dogs. Like Dario Saric was a dog at one point.
Dario Saric was a problem, and still has many a game against the Chicago Bulls where we could not stop him.
Oh, well, I mean, bro, we let somebody named Pelly Larson go off on us for 3 games in a row, bro. Like,
did you call him Pelly Larson?
Pelly Larson, bro. Like, did I say Pelly? That was literally just Freudian slip, bro. Like, let's get up out of here, bro. I'm ruining people's names. Let's get up out of here.
Follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me on everything at Pat the Designer, man. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love as always. Go find some answers because this team ain't got them.
You guys can follow me at CEO Haize. Locked On Bulls is free and available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube, the Odyssey app, Amazon Fire TV, Roku TV, and Fubo TV. Basically, anywhere you want us, you can get it. We'll catch you guys bright and early tomorrow, y'all. Peace. You know what, bro? I look forward to this. You know, from February 11th to the 19th, we have no games. I'm really looking forward to not having to talk about actual Bulls on the court basketball.
That would be nice.